Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy JJ, and I'm here with episode 10 of JJ's New England Sports Corner. Uh, Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing on here, and turn on post notifications so that you guys are notified when I go live and/or when I post a short. And then, feel free to subscribe to my blog if you want to read some articles. Without further ado, let's get started. Unfortunately, Bruins and Celtics are done. I'll start off with the Bruins, I guess, since they were the first ones to go. Honestly, even though the Bruins season is over, I don't really look at their season any differently than how I did before this playoffs. I don't look at this Bruins season any differently after the playoff loss than before it. Either way, I'm still insanely happy that the Bruins made the playoffs. I'm insanely happy that the Bruins ended up being ahead of schedule. And honestly, either way, I didn't think they were going to beat the Sabres. I didn't think they were going to beat the Sabres anyways, but I do think they put up a decent fight. It was a pretty frustrating series. Um, Obviously, things didn't go. There were some things that really hampered the Bruins. I think Victor Arvidsson being out for them really just threw a wrench into a lot of things. It completely neutered the effectiveness of the second line and also just forced Boston to really make quite a few changes. That along with Elias Lindholm and Morgan Geeky just really being silent. Really, it goes for the whole first line. Like you know, Lindholm and Geeky really just kind of dragging Pastrnak down and making him almost feel like a regular player as opposed to the superstar that he is. That forced a lot of changes. And I still would have liked to have seen Hagens. I still would have liked to have seen guys like Hagens and Lohrei play. But I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I don't know if it would have been enough to even force a game seven, or or possibly even win the series. Um, and I mean, what can I say? What can I say about the series that I didn't already know about the Bruins? I mean, Jeremy Swayman is an elite goalie. Uh, he was one of the only reasons this series went to 6 games was because he was just that damn good. Uh, Alex Lyon was completely shut out too. He was or not shut out. Alex Lyon was completely locked down on the other side for the Sabres. He did absolutely phenomenally, taking over for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Uh, yeah, I mean, it sucks. You know, like, now I'm at a point where like I don't really know what to make of this roster. Like at this point, I think the only people that are safe are Swayman, Pasternak, and Charlie McAvoy. Outside of them, I think anyone can expect at least some kind of rumors. Or hell, uh, maybe I shouldn't even say that because even Pasternak, McAvoy, and Swayman are all subject to rumors right now. Like, I do think that at the very least, a lot of fans, at least the ones that I see on Twitter, which is a small minority, but they're a very vocal one. I do think the sentiment is pretty much the same, and that is to finally get a true top line center to pair with Pasternak. And I was talking with my dad the other day, or just earlier today. I was talking with my dad just earlier today, and he apparently saw trade rumors about Swayman for Leon Draisaitl, and I I really don't agree with that. I don't think I'm not sure if trading Swayman. I think trading Swayman would actively be hampering the team because I wouldn't want to put Michael DiPietro in that situation, even though he was AHL MVP. I know I might be sounding stupid, but it feels like such a bad situation to throw any AHL goalie into. And just with this defense right now and how bad they looked, especially in game 6, like especially in game 6 with some of the goals that they allowed, specifically that one the goal that Mateus Samuelsson scored where you had friggin' four bodies in there and the Bruin you had four bodies in the net, two Bruins, two Sabres, and the Bruins weren't doing anything to try and clear out space so that Swayman could even see the puck. Like that's an impossible save to make for 99% of goalkeepers. But yeah, I mean, Zadorov apparently was playing on a torn MCL. I don't know how long he's had it, but he clarified that he was playing on a torn MCL. So that obviously sucks. But yeah, I mean, are the priorities for the Bruins this offseason should be securing a top line center, um, just getting a better defensive core, and then if they can in any way possible, which I honestly kind of doubt, I think they need to trade the Lindholms. Any way that they can get their contracts off the books, I think they have to do. But it sucks because they they're probably not going. They have no movement clauses at least for the next year. I believe Lindholm's no movement clause is up after next season, and then um I just brain farted there. Let me Hampus Lindholm's no movement clause, I believe, isn't scheduled to um, open up until the end of next season, and then Elias Lindholm's isn't supposed to clear up until 2 seasons from now. And right now, they're making a crap ton of money. Elias's cap hit, I believe, is 7.75, and then Hampus Lindholm's I think at 6.5 million. They're making a lot of money for guys that just aren't performing at the level that they should be. They're not performing at the level they should be for the kind of money that they're making. Elias Lindholm is not a top center. He's not a top line center, and Lindholm uh, isn't making 1D money. So, or he isn't playing like a 1D. He isn't playing like a top pairing defenseman. So, and other than that, I would just try and do anything to make sure that the youngins stay the course. The Fraser Mittens, the Murat Husnadinovs, the James Hagans, uh, whoever else they got down in the AHL, Blumel, um, hell, maybe even Patra if he has anything to give, which I do still think he has, because in his very limited action, I think he at least I think he at least should get more of a chance than what he was given last year. But yeah, I mean, the Bruins I think, should just stay the course for the most part. But I don't mean, but not in like a stay put and don't compete for people kind of way. I'd have to, I'm not entirely sure who's in the free agent market that the Bruins could possibly be in contention of signing. Uh, I'd have to get back to you on like the Bruins' current cap situation. I do know that Victor Arvidsson and Andrew Peak are both free agents, and I mean, honestly, I don't know what a new Victor Arvidsson contract would look like, but I really like. I mean, it's impossible not to fall in love with that second line for how good they were. I mean, they were one of the best lines in the entire league, I believe, due to plus minus. They were one of the best lines in the league according to plus minus. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I Victor Arvidsson was definitely a welcome surprise. Uh, this whole season was really a surprise, but Arvidsson especially, he fits so well with Zaka and Middlestat so well. I mean, I again, I don't know what the cap situation is like for the Bruins. But if they can get a deal done for Arvidsson, I would like to see that. I would like for them to bring that second line back. But that's just my personal take. I'm just some I'm just a fan with a microphone. But yeah, that's my overall take on what I think the Bruins should do. You know, I'll go more in depth into it. I'll do my due diligence and take a look at top free agents and really examine the Bruins cap situation so that I can properly give some moves that maybe I think would actually work. But yeah, that'll be for another day. That'll be for probably 2 weeks from now. Moving on. Let's talk about the Celtics. I really don't want to talk about the Celtics, but it's a New England sports podcast, so I got to. Anyways, Celtics choke a 3-1 lead, and I my the person I'm blaming mainly is Joe Mazzulla because even even in game 4 when they won by 30, when they won by 30 in Philadelphia, Joel Embiid had 30. Hold on, let me But yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid had 26 points, even when they he had 26 points and he was still scoring relatively well, even when the Sixers were getting blown out, because at that point, uh, Philly hadn't yet found a balance between making sure Embiid gets his shots and that the rest of the team can keep the offense going. But they definitely did as the series went on, and and Missoula's, I don't know if complacency is the right word, but just like over like I part maybe part of it is complacency, and the other part is stubbornness. It's the same thing that we've seen from Missoula every other year he's been coaching. He has lived and died by the three, and it only worked in 2024 because that team was absolutely effing stacked. That's a close. It might be the closest argument the Celtics have ever had to being a super team since the Big Three era. So Tatum being out for Game 7 obviously hurts, but the Celtics still had opportunities to win that game. It's not like Tatum being out really hampered them. Tatum was probably the most consistent playoff for Tatum was probably the most consistent performer in that first round series. Maybe outside of Derek White, who was consistently bad up until Game 7. I'll give Derek White that he truly we saw the Derek White of old. We saw the Derek White of 2023 to 2025. He was providing that defense and also making shots on top of that, which we hadn't really gotten. We hadn't really gotten that very much throughout this past season. So I'm super glad he was at least able to bring that. Jalen Brown absolutely clutched up in the second half. But it sucks when you miss, like, I think it was like I think the Celtics missed their final 10 shots of the game, and that absolutely killed them. And they were missing open looks too. They were manufacturing open looks as well, and they were missing those. It was like there was a lid on top of the basket, and that the Celtics weren't allowed to make anything. So yeah, it's gonna suck having to hear about this crap for however long now. Also, I'm so happy I don't record on Saturdays because this part of the podcast might have been laced with profanity because I was absolutely steaming mad after that game. That might actually it might actually be the most mad that I've ever been after a loss. Yeah, I mean, Hauser played like garbage the whole series, and then the center play was the worst on court aspect for the Celtics. Embiid was just allowed to get his all the time, every game, all game. Every game when he was in, Embiid was just getting his no matter who was guarding him. And it's absolutely crazy to me that some of the most trouble that Joel Embiid was having with the defense throughout that series was against guys who were at least 6 inches shorter than him. Like Keita, Garza, Vucevic, it didn't matter who was on him. They were getting absolutely shredded. They were getting into foul trouble. And that was the most frustrating part, was that Embiid isn't playing any different than he was playing before. The scouting report has been the same, but he was still getting his. And I mean, if there was one target for the Celtics, if there's one offseason target for the Celtics, it needs to be getting a quality defensive big. And for as good as Keita and Garza had been throughout the year, they're just not fit right now they're just not fit to be able to guard elite centers. And, God, this is going to be a pain to edit just for how much I'm pausing. But yeah, like, I mean, it was just woefully apparent throughout that series. Nobody was guarding Embiid. Nobody could guard Embiid. And then every time Maxey made a off the dribble three, off a screen and roll, or Paul George was getting his buckets from ISO, it just added to the pain. I forget what I was just about to say. But yeah, I mean, oh yeah, rumors. But yeah, I mean, I've been hearing so many Celtic fans on Twitter saying that they should trade Jalen Brown. No, no. I truly think Celtic fans are really delusional. At least the ones I've been seeing on Twitter that are saying we should trade Jalen Brown for Giannis. As much as I would like that, I don't think that's happening. Maybe I'm just being awfully pessimistic, but I just don't see a world where Brown gets traded. Nor do I think he should be. And I certainly don't think it's gonna end up being for Giannis. If if the Bucks have any sort of competency in their front office, they're gonna want future assets. They're and I don't think Jalen Brown is gonna fit. Jalen Brown certainly isn't gonna fit what they want. But yeah, I mean, as far like with the Bruins, I'm not entirely sure as far as like the as far as what specific players they should bring in. I gotta take a look at the impending free agents and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, for as well as Kata performed in the regular season, he just couldn't hack it in the playoffs. He couldn't hack it against Embiid. And what was Kata thinking on that friggin' turnaround jumper with like 4 seconds left on the shot clock? Who did he think he was? Like that was truly bizarre. When he was going for that offensive rebound late in the game, I want to say there was like maybe 3 minutes left in the game, and Cato was, sprinted out to the 3 point line to get an offensive rebound, and then decided to drive. He ran into Embiid, and then took like a 15-foot post fade away. Like what the hell was that? Like I would have been laughing at it if I would have been laughing about it if I wasn't a freaking Celtic fan. Like that was an awful shot. Like I could just feel the momentum just shift from that point damn near. But yeah, but yeah. Long story short, the center play and Missoula's stubbornness are the two main factors that contributed to the Celtics losing the series. And then finally, we'll get into some Red Sox here. I mean, they just lost 3-1 against the Astros. They lost yet another series. Uh, but I mean, there's at least some good that can be taken out of this. For one, it seems like Duran is starting. It seems like Jaron Duran is starting to get back some semblance of his past form. He hit 2 home runs this series. He was the he his second home run of the series was the only run that they scored today. So here's hoping that this sparks a hot streak, or it sparks him leveling up and getting back to, at the very least, his 2025 form. I really want to see it out of Jaron Duran. He's the guy I'm rooting for the most, for I think fairly obvious reasons. But I mean, let me look at the box score actually, so that I'm not just speaking out of total ignorance. But yeah, I mean, Duran was really well. Duran was really good. Wilson Contreras was really good. He went 3 for 4 of the walk. Uh, Abreu was not all that great, but he went over. He went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, but he did walk twice, so that's at least something. But yeah, I mean, bottom of the lineup, honestly, everyone other than like Duran and Contreras kind of was, you know, you had 11, you had 11 strikeouts from the lineup. That's not good. And then what might be the worst part of this whole series or of this game is Ranger Suarez having to leave after 4 innings, and it turned into a bullpen game. Ranger Suarez ended up leaving with, I believe, hamstring tightness. I Yeah, Ranger ended up leaving due to hamstring tightness. Oh man, yeah. I mean, and then Rafaela grounding into a double play with the bases loaded just absolutely sucks. Ugh. Now, if he's on the IL, if he goes on the IL, then whoa, this is gonna be awful. This is awful. It already is for this Red Sox rotation, but it's like, right now the rotation is Brian Bayo, who sucks. I'm not counting Crochet and Sonny Gray. They're still on the IL. But if he goes on the IL, all you have left from your opening day rotation is Brian Bayo and Connolly Early, and Brian Bayo has looked like utter garbage. He's looked like utter garbage, and I believe during his last start, he acted like a friggin' child when he was getting taken out. I think it was the Baltimore start actually. He got taken out, or maybe it might have been the Toronto one. Actually, I think it might have been. He allowed four, and he looked like he was about to freaking cry, and was nodding no before he was getting taken out, like it like it was someone else's fault, and he allowed 4 runs. At this point, I think Bayo just needs to get sent down. Brian Bayo has been. I really hate doing this, but I think it's justified with him. He's been playing so trash lately. He's been so trash the entire season. Like, I actively dread seeing him come up as a starter for games now. You got guys like Peyton Tolley and Jake Bennett who are putting together better starts than Bayo is. Like that should not be happening. No disrespect to Peyton Tolley. That's not supposed to be a slight on either Tolley nor Bennett. That's not supposed to be a slight towards either of them. But Bayo just has so much higher expectations for it, and he's just he has been limboing under it. He's been limboing under the bar of expectations the entire year. And you could say that about this whole Red Sox rotation. But, you know, Connolly Early being the Red Sox best rotation pitcher is pretty damning. And then you got guys like Justin Slayton who are on the IL as well. Garrett Whitlock had a stint on the IL. Like, it's just it's frustrating. So and Sandoval's on the IL. Obviously, Oviedo's gone for a while. Yeah, I mean, it sucks because like the worst thing about the Celtics and Bruins both getting eliminated this past weekend might not even be the fact that they got eliminated. It's the fact that we got that all we got now is the friggin' Red Sox. Obviously, it had to come. Uh, Baseball or basketball and hockey season aren't lasting forever, so it was going to come eventually. But boy, by all means, we should have at least had the Celtics to look forward to in the second round. And now we got to watch this bomb ass Red Sox team absolutely ruining the entire moods of Red Sox fans for the next 5 months. I'm hopeful some things will turn around. You know, Trevor Story. Trevor Story he's always been a slow starter. He even did it last year, but a lot of things need to go. A lot of things need to go the Red Sox way because so many things just aren't, and it's not it's. I don't think it's going to go well for us. Historically speaking, teams that fire their manager, teams that fire their manager midseason, historically have a bad track record. Um, as far as making the playoffs go, I just watched a video not too long ago. I think by Jolly Olive, where he detailed the history of managers taking over midseason, and I want to say I think it was like five managers that have taken over midseason have made the playoffs that year with that team. So obviously that doesn't bode well for Chad Tracy and his coaching squad. But I don't know. Things look bleak as all hell last season when they traded Rafael Devers for pennies on the dollar. And wouldn't you know it, they became the hottest team in baseball heading into the All-Star break. And then got to 90 games before getting absolutely crapped on by Cam Schlittler. So maybe they can work some magic again. I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, this is more or less the same squad. More or less the same squad minus Alex Bregman. So who knows? And yeah, that is gonna do it for me, folks. I mean, I try my best to be jovial here, but it's tough right now. It's tough right now with the current state of Boston sports. And obviously, I'm pretty spoiled. I'm pretty spoiled as a fan. I'm 23 years old. By the way, I celebrated my birthday back on April 17th. So happy birthday to me, I guess. But you know, obviously, I'm pretty lucky as a 23-year-old Boston sports fan to be able to say this is the worst time. This is the worst time in my lifetime to be a Boston sports fan when you've got you've got at when you've got when you got the Patriots who just lost in the Super Bowl, and then you got the Bruins who surprised everyone and made the playoffs, and then a Celtics team who by all means should have been in the middle of a gap year, uh, won 55 games and we're still the second seed in the East. So yeah, obviously we're all pretty spoiled as Boston sports fans. I have been my whole life. Boston sports fans have been spoiled ever since the 21st century started. Ever since the 21st century started, we've all been spoiled. So, but yeah, let's just hope things turn around. Once again, feel free to subscribe to to the channel, turn on post notifications so you know when I go live, and subscribe to my blog so you get notified whenever I make a blog post. And this has been your boy JJ, and I'm gone.